Good evening and welcome to the Dothan Business Hall of Fame 12th Annual Banquet and Induction Ceremony. Thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Walter Hill and I'm the CEO at the Wiregrass United Way, and I am this year's chairman of the Dothan Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and I'll be serving as your master of ceremonies for tonight's activities. This is always a highlight of the chamber activities throughout the year, and I'm glad all of you that are attending for the first time are able to experience this great evening. At this time, I will ask Rabbi Jonathan Lee Jackson from Temple Emmanuel to please come forward to deliver our invocation.
Good evening. My name is Rabbi Jackson, and there are 3 bits of ancient wisdom from the Jewish tradition that I would like to put before you on this special evening as we ask God to bless this moment, this meal, and the endeavors of those we honor. First, the Jewish tradition teaches that if there is no sustenance, there is no wisdom in the world. We need the elevation of the soul, but such a thing is impossible without the elevation of the basic needs that a person has in our world. Tonight, we bless and give thanks for those who not only help to meet the needs of their fellow humans in terms of sustenance, but who also go above and beyond to provide for them. The foundation of a community is its business life, and only with our help can a community flourish. Second, Judaism's Talmud, our medieval storehouse of debate and learning how to be human in God's ethical image in this world, teaches us that one who saves a single life has saved the world entire. Each of us is bound up in the fate and well-being of one another. Some among us are blessed to know this deeply and naturally. These individuals are able to commit their actions in this world to such rescue for all of our sakes, for the quality of life of the least among us, and for the benefit that the whole world receives when one person is permitted joy. We bless their selflessness. Third, the Jewish tradition teaches that the community is the life of the people, without which no individual can thrive. Tonight, we celebrate that life and we give thanks to God with the traditional blessing of grace from Judaism. Blessed are you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, who sustains the entire world by his goodness, grace, mercy, and compassion. He gives bread to all flesh, for his loving kindness is endless. And in his great goodness, he will never abandon us, nor will we lack sustenance ever. For the sake of his great name, for he is a providential God who supports us all, and who grants goodness to all by providing sustenance to all in the great abundance which he has created. Blessed are you, Eternal One, our God, who sustains us all. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. And as you enjoy your dinner, please join me in thanking our presenting sponsor for this evening, Mike Schmidt's Automotive Group.
I'm Mike Schmitz from Mike Schmitz Automotive Group, and it brings me great joy and pleasure and honor to sponsor the Business Hall of Fame. Now, right now, I'm in Stuttgart, Germany, so I can't be there physically, but emotionally and spiritually, I'm cheering you on. To all the inductees and the families, congratulations. This is a lifetime worth of work, and you're being honored tonight, and you have earned it. So we're proud of you. Thank you for all that you've done to make our community a better community, and have fun.
Tonight is a special night, and before we begin our induction ceremony, we want to encourage you to keep enjoying your dinner and dessert that's at your plate, but we also want to take a moment to recognize our past Hall of Fame honorees. That is certainly a who's who of Dothan business leaders, and I stood there and watched. It's also, I'm extremely thankful and blessed to have worked with many of those who were also incredible leaders, volunteer leadership positions with Wiregrass United Way, and I thought back to the only one that I've ever been asked to write a letter of support by the people nominating him was my friend and mentor, the late Jack Sasser, who was certainly very, very deserving of that recognition. So I enjoyed watching the slideshow. The Dothan Business Hall of Fame was established in May 2011 by the Dothan Area Chamber of Commerce and the Dothan Area Young Professionals. The Hall of Fame's mission is to pay recognition to local business leaders who have made an impact on the community by promoting the free enterprise system of entrepreneurship. To honor those individuals who have spent a lifetime demonstrating civic leadership, philanthropy, and humanitarianism toward their fellow citizens. The Hall of Fame plaques honoring the laureates are located in a prominent location at the Dothan Area Chamber, where it may be seen by chamber members, prospective members, industrial prospects, visitors, and the general public. This year's laureates will be added to the wall soon, and we invite you to please stop by the chamber and view that. If you've never seen it, it is quite impressive to see all of the honorees there in one place. At this time, I want to introduce Stephen Holland, who is this year's chair of the Dothan Area Young Professionals.
Good evening, everyone. As he said, I'm Stephen Holland, chairman of the Dothan Area Young Professionals. The Dothan Area Young Professionals are honored to have been asked to partner with the Chamber for this wonderful Business Hall of Fame recognition program and event with a mission to enrich our community by uniting and developing young professionals, their businesses, and their careers. The Dothan Area Young Professionals feel that being a part of this program not only enhances and reflects the importance of our objective, but it also gives us the opportunity to further support participation in all philanthropic activities throughout our community. Thank you all for being here this evening, and congratulations to all of our incredible inductees.
Our first laureate tonight is Bill Adams of Adams Beverages Incorporated.
William Calvin Bill Adams was born July 31st, 1950 in Dothan, Alabama. He graduated from Dothan High School in 1968. In 1972, Bill graduated from the University of Alabama. He was also an active member of Sigma Nu fraternity. Upon graduation, Bill moved back to Dothan to begin working in the family business. Bill's father, Billy Joe Adams, was the driving force of Adams Beverages, always encouraging Bill to grow the business. Adams Beverages began as a small-town Anheuser-Busch wholesaler in Dothan, Alabama, and has grown to a multi-state business with 5 facilities in Alabama and 3 facilities in North Carolina. Adams Beverages has been providing beer and service for over 80 years and has been owned and operated by family members since 1937. The company distributes in 66 counties across Alabama and North Carolina, and has 750 employees. Adams Beverages has grown from a 1 million case operation in Dothan, Alabama to 26 million case operation in Alabama and North Carolina combined, and the company is now in top 5 Anheuser-Busch distributors in the country.
My father really had a huge appreciation for the company and what it meant to our family, and I can remember at an early age, when I was 14, I was up there working, and he made sure that I, was back in the warehouse stacking beer or riding trucks when I got 15 and 16. He just really loved the beer business and loved what it meant to our family.
He's an amazing man that you would never know everything, all of his successes and stories and what he's done along the way, because he just got out there and worked hard and didn't want any credit for any of it. And he wanted to raise us that way, and he did an excellent job of teaching us just to not boast about what you have, but really just work hard and appreciate things you have in life.
I think my father, as it relates to business and what he was most proud of, was to be able to pass the business down to his kids. He appreciated that from his father. He wanted us to grow in the business. He wanted us to learn the business.
Making friends is our business. And Dad repeated that over and over and really instilled that in our brain. And I feel like he not only applied that in business, but he applied that to everyday life. And he made friends everywhere he went. He was great with relationships.
Dad, I'd just like to tell you thank you. Thank you for being my best friend, for being there for me when I needed you, for helping me grow as a business person, but more than that, just as a person, for taking the time to make me a part of the business, to make it a priority of your life, to help me be better. And without your support, I never would be where I am today. Without your love for us, for Amy and I, we wouldn't be here. And you chose unselfishly to support us versus looking out for yourself. And that is something that I hope to take to my children, whatever it is in life. Just the unselfishness that you had and the person that you were to me through the last 25 plus years of working with you.
I don't even know how to express to you how much you mean to me and our entire family. You are the rock of this family. We all turn to you for advice and everything, even sometimes when we don't want it, but we all turn to you, and he's the one that we can always count on. So Dad, thank you, and we love you, and we're so proud of you and all that you've done and your great accomplishments.
Accepting the award on his father's behalf is Clay Adams.
Thank you very much. Great video. My father, 16 months ago, was diagnosed with brain cancer, and shortly thereafter, he lost his ability to communicate, to talk, to speak, to be able to write or anything, and obviously very tough. Although, by the way, he's very good at listening, so if you say something bad about him, watch out. He'll let you know. But I fortunately had a good opportunity over the last, as mentioned, 25 plus years to work with him, and we talked every day. It was a great pleasure. And so tonight I'm going to try to thank the people that meant the most to him, that helped us build the business, and hopefully I get a lot of it right. But we had a wonderful relationship, and it was something I'm very proud to live my life working with him. First of all, I'd like to thank the Dothan Chamber of Commerce for recognizing him, specifically Trip Wheelis, who I think nominated him. There's a great video that he has 6 grandchildren. There's a great video that they put together for him, and just seeing that, and being in a family business and them understanding it, it was very special for my sister and I to watch that today, and for Carmen and for my mom to watch that. So they're very proud of him. We as a family are very proud of him. My sister, made a comment, making friends is our business, and my dad truly believed that, and that's really, honestly, what led to the ability for us to grow since really 2001. We bought the Auburn Opelika business. My dad was very good friends with the owner of that business. They would talk weekly just about business, what their thoughts were, their vision, et cetera. And my dad developed a very good, strong relationship with him. And one day he called and he said, "I think I'm ready to sell." And my dad would say, "Well, it would be a wonderful opportunity for me to purchase it and our family to grow. It's just something that we've always wanted to do." And so, a funny story about that, as we're closing the deal, I reach out to my father and I'm like, "Dad, by the way, I went to Alabama. Your sister went to Alabama, and you went to Alabama." I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "War damn eagle." And so he and Carmen moved there. They embraced the community. They became, they wore orange more than you wore any other color. And it was just it was great for me to see how developing friendships. And I think my dad's best quality in life is that he treats everyone the same. We have a guy, Cleveland Thomas, has been working in our warehouse for 40 plus years. And Dad could talk to him and talk to the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, our largest supplier, and he'd treat them both the same. He'd value both of them as equal people, and I just think that's something special that I've learned from him. As I look back upon my 25 years and working with my father, I think in looking at who he would like to thank, and I'm trying to do it in a way that I think who he would look to reach out to and acknowledge here. I mean, obviously, first of all, our employees. Can't do it ourselves. We have 4 of our leaders here tonight with us that really drive the business. I mean, my dad steers it. He has the vision. He has the desire to grow, and then he has looked for and found really great people to lead our business. So I'm very thankful. He is very thankful for those leaders that have guided us, and if he can provide a career to someone, it means a lot. So he would really reach out to our employees and thank them. Since 1937, our family has been a Anheuser-Busch beer distributor, and without them, without their blessings in supporting us, and without them giving us the opportunity to grow from Dothan, Alabama to 2 states, it couldn't have happened. So obviously, through the time, you always have disagreements with your largest supplier, but my father was always good about not holding a grudge and moving forward. So I'd like to thank Anheuser-Busch. In a generational business such as that we are, family of 3 generations, I know my father would be very thankful to his father for sticking it out, if you will. In the 40s and 50s, as you can imagine, selling beer in the Deep South was not easy, and my grandfather did it, his father did it, and they had a working relationship that was strong, and it meant a lot for him to sit side by side with his father and work together, and I know he'd be very appreciative of what his father did for him for those years. When we bought the Charlotte, North Carolina market, my father, had made the move to Opelika for 3 or 4 years or so, and came back. He said, "I know we want it as a family, but you really want it, son, so you need to. I know you want to go, but you need to go, and it'll be a great experience for you. You'll grow a lot." And of course, I thought I could do everything, and I was like, let's go. And he said, "Well, wait. You need a mentor." And so he had, again, through developing relationships, he had tried to buy the Chattanooga, Tennessee market and failed, but he had developed a relationship with a guy named Terry Collum, who still works with us today but can't be here. And Terry, after that business is sold, and moved to Chicago to work for Constellation Brands. And he reached out to Terry and said, "Terry, I'd love for you to come work with our family. It'd mean a lot. I have a lot of respect for you. And my son, as much as he thinks he knows, he needs help. And I think you can give it to him. And he needs someone other than just his father to guide him." So I think my father would really like to thank Terry. He's been with us since we moved to Charlotte and helped us grow. There's a lady in our industry that does all the deals in the Southeast, Mary Bickers, who's here with us tonight. My father and her met in 2002 or somewhere around that time period, and you talk about 2 bullheads. I mean, they would go at it all the time. But they would talk probably twice a week, and I think Mary would call me, and she'd be like, "Would you tell your dad to stop calling me? There's nothing going on." I'm like, "That's just his personality. He's a very impatient man." But over that time period, she was very instrumental in us growing. She was very loyal to our family. She has a great team, a great office that helped us on the financial planning, family planning, and setting our company up for years to come. So thank you, Mary, for all that you meant to our family. It is your true blessing to us. These are all kind of acquisitions because these are the important things that happen within our business. And I was obviously very active. I was living in Charlotte. My dad was living in Dothan. And 2 good things about we got the opportunity to buy Tuscaloosa. One, we could start saying Roll Tide again, which we never thought we could. And secondly, my father reached out to my sister Amy, who was not active. She was raising her kids and her family, and he said, "Amy, you're part of the family business. You can sit on the sidelines or you can jump in." And Without hesitation, my sister jumped in. She moved her family with kids in lower school, middle school, and they moved to Tuscaloosa. And as our kids got older, and she didn't have as much responsibility with them, she got extremely involved with the company. And I know my father, who loves his daughter for a lot of reasons, but I know when she said yes then that it meant a great deal to him. He really appreciates the sacrifices that are made for the family. My dad, if he was up here right now, I know in his mind he'd be like, thank you, Amy, for what you've done for our family business. And I do think my father would thank me as his son. When you're a family business, most family businesses that are sustainable mess up or fall apart because of a small minor detail that either one of the family members couldn't get over. And believe me, my father and I fought all the time. When you had two different generations, you had two different perspectives, and it's just part of it. But we always had such respect for one another and appreciation for what we were both trying to accomplish, that as much as we might have fought during times, it wasn't all the time, I don't mean it like that, but we fought harder together, and we always fought hard together. And tell you a story. When we bought the Birmingham market, this is how much I admire my father. He was living in Dothan. Things were great. He's got a great group of friends that are here, playing golf, loving life, all the good stuff that he had earned. And we bought this market in Birmingham and reached out to him, and we're talking. And I was like, Dad, we got a great group of leaders. Who you think we should send? I think a lot of guys would be interested in doing it. And I said, what are your thoughts? And he goes, what do you mean, what are my thoughts? And I said, who are we sending? He goes, I'm going. I said, what? And I said, yes. I said, Dad, you're 71 years of age. He says, so what? And every Monday morning for 2 years until cancer kind of took him over, he would get up Monday morning, drive up to Birmingham. And by the way, my dad absolutely loves Dothan. He's not a big city guy. He hated the traffic there. But he would get up every Monday morning, he would drive up there, and he got engaged in the business. And he'd drive back Thursday, and he'd do it again the next week. So if you ever want to define leadership, to me, that's leadership, and I really appreciate the sacrifices he did. Kind of before I close, I think my dad would like me to recognize and thank two women that have meant a lot to him in his life. His first wife, Mary Adams, and my mom and my sister's mom. My dad always loved my mom. She was a wonderful mom. They had a great relationship for a while. But, my mom is here tonight. My dad is so thankful, that she is here and a part of this and a part of our family. And she sees the value of our family's business and knows that her kids are involved with it and so supportive of all of that. So thank you, Mom, for who you are as a person and for being here tonight. And lastly, it's been a special moment, and thank Carmen, his wife. Carmen's always been extremely supportive of my father. She moved to Auburn when we bought that market for a few years, and then my dad would go Monday through Thursday to Birmingham, obviously, and she was very supportive of that. She never held him back. She might have wanted him out of the house, I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, she was very supportive of it. But my father would say right now that the last 16 months, she has been by his side. She has lived this cancer like she had it herself. She has never not had a smile on her face. She gets up every morning and does for him. She has sacrificed her life over the last 16 months for him. And there's no greater gift that you can give than what she's given to him. So thank you, Carmen, for being there for him. My sister and I love you for doing that. Thank you very much. Lastly, I'll close with this. I think my dad would thank God. My father would be the first to admit he was born on third base. He had a great community to grow up in. He had great friends that are still his friends today. He might have been given a little bit of a raw deal here at the end, but he doesn't look backwards. He thanks God for the positive mindset that he has. He thanks him for forgiving him for the mistakes that he has made probably through the years. But most of all, I think he would thank God for giving him the will to live. You know, he gets up every morning, puts on clothes, he gets dressed, he smiles, he's as happy as he could be with the conditions that he's in, and he has a lot of fight still left in him. So, Dad, thank you for everything you meant to our family. It's a great honor being up here for you. Thank you.
Leslie and Susan Bloomberg were married on June 18, 1967, and became true partners in life. Together, they have touched and strengthened Dothan citizens and organizations with a heart of love and commitment to helping others. The legacy they have built stands as a testament to their belief and example to us all, that each of us needs to lend a hand. Leslie was born in Dothan and attended Marion Military Institute. Susan is originally from Salisbury, North Carolina, and attended the University of Georgia. Leslie spent 2 years in Stuttgart, Germany, as a cryptographer in the U.S. Army. Following his military service, he attended the New York School of Retailing. He then moved to Atlanta and worked at Rich's department store in their training program. In 1961, Leslie came home to Dothan and began work with the family business.
Tell me about Bloomberg's department store.
Bloomberg's was located downtown at the corner of East Main and Foster Street, and it was the place to shop, not only for Dothan, but the Wiregrass. And of course, Leslie and his family ran that business from the 1800s until it was sold in 1975, but it was the premier place to shop in Dothan.
Alan, I know that you have known Leslie and Susan a long time. Tell me about your friendship with them and what this means to them and why they are so special to all of us.
Well, Susan and I moved to Dothan in 1973, and shortly thereafter we met Susan and Leslie Bloomberg, and they've been some of our very best friends since then. But I really got to know Susan when she was working to develop the Von Bloomberg Center.
And it really is making a difference even today in folks that have intellectual disabilities and a true impact on their lives.
That's so true, Dean. There are 85 adults served out there and 30-something children that their lives are enriched in ways that you can't imagine. Leslie got into the real estate development business, and he developed apartments, hotels, shopping complexes all over the state. And of course, everybody knows about the Comfort Inn that was built on the corner of the Circle and Montgomery Highway, the 6-story hotel. Leslie built and managed that and for many, many years until it was sold, and that was the place to stay in Dothan.
When I was working here at the Dothan Chamber, they became interested in partnering with us to help high school students become career, life, and citizen ready. Mm-hmm. And so we worked on a program called the Citizen Promise Program that is one of a kind in the nation, and that program is still today, but it's because of the generosity and the vision that Leslie and Susan had to giving back and helping students that don't always have the best structure and don't always have the best living environment, but giving them opportunities to understand what it means to be responsible, what it means to contribute back to your community, and what it means to be ready to go into the workplace and have those skills.
We care so much for the Bloombergs because they care for our community and always have and always will. Susan and Leslie, congratulations.
I want to say congratulations to Mr. and Ms. Bloomberg on being inducted into the Dothan Business Hall of Fame. What a crowning achievement for the life and the example that you've set for so many. You're always willing to lend a hand and provide that opportunity for others. And we appreciate you, we love you, and we are super, super honored to call you our friends, and congratulations on this special night.
Leslie's going to be first.
Good evening. I recently read the words, "Thank you said it all." I must add, thank you very much for this special honor that Susan and I will always treasure. We're grateful that we've been able to give back to our community, which we're especially thankful for the excellent partners who have participated in development projects with. I've been very lucky to have been born in Dothan, and there have been many changes in our world. However, we still live in the greatest city and greatest country. Thank you, Dothan and our Chamber of Commerce. My luckiest day was in '66 when I met a beautiful and wonderful Atlanta school teacher from North Carolina. I knew 3 of her roommates, however, she was the one for me. Travel is something that we have enjoyed together. We've had some wonderful trips, both in Europe and in this country. The highlights of our trips have been those to England with the Dothan Rotary Club exchange visit with the Slough, England Rotary Club. I've been a member of the Dothan Rotary Club for over 60 years and have made lifetime friends and wonderful memories. Temple Emmanuel has played an important part in our lives. We have been very fortunate to make some significant improvements to the temple. Susan is the House and Grounds Chairman and has spent countless hours with many projects. She has learned much about HVAC, security systems, parking lots, lighting, etc., etc. It is our goal to leave the temple in as good or better shape than we found it. Looking back, some of my best days were spent in our family department store. The thing I miss most are the people, both customers and employees. It's amazing, even today, I run into people who worked at the store or have a relative or a friend who worked at Bluebirds. Many say they have gotten their first whatever at the store. After working at the store, I took over the management of the Carousel Motel. My sister and I were gifted it from my parents. It was built in 1957, was outdated, however, the location was excellent. We decided to demolish it and build a 5-story Comfort Inn. We sold it in 2006, and now it is now La Quinta Inn. One day I was at the front desk, and a guest told me the story about what happened after his last stay on his way to Disney World with his wife. He said when he got about 50 miles from Disney World, he saw a sign, and his wife said, "Look, honey, it's only 50 miles to Kissimmee." And I said, "Honey, it's not pronounced Kiss, it's Kissimmee." Well, got on down the road about 30 miles, and again, she said, "Look, honey, it's 30 miles to Kissimmee." He said, "No, it's not. It's 30 miles to Kissimmee." So anyhow, we finally got there. It was about lunchtime, and I said, "Look, we're going to go in the first place, and I'm going to ask them how you pronounce the name of the place." So anyhow, we parked and went in, and I said to the young lady, I said, "Just how do you pronounce the name of this place?" And she said, "Burger King." I want to say in closing that how much this has touched us and receiving this honor. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Susan.
I thought that some of you might like to know how North Carolina and Alabama got together. I was at one of my roommates' weddings, and I met Leslie's sister's mother-in-law. She left the wedding convinced that Leslie should meet me. He managed to make that happen. Now, 56 years later, I think I passed. How lucky I was to have passed. Not only did I get a very special, wonderful husband with a lot of patience and great sense of humor, but also a wonderful new place to call home, Dothan, Alabama. Leslie and I have been very fortunate to live in Dothan, where people sincerely care about meeting genuine needs of its citizens. We are proud that we have been a part of some special projects, but they would not have happened had it been for the people who put without the time, efforts, and commitment of others. It has truly been a blessing to our whole area that there's so many people who have helped make things happen. Many of you are here tonight, including Liberty Learning Foundation, Von Bloomberg Services, plus Business Hall of Fame laureates from the past. I join Leslie in expressing our many thanks for this honor.
As they head back to their seats, I have to mention several things. I feel like I met Leslie and Susan on November 1st, 1986, the day I moved to Dothan. I don't think I really met them that day, but I met them shortly thereafter. As the judges chair for Houston County's Junior Miss for 21 years, they never said no to hosting our judges complimentary for the weekend every September. And obviously, Von Bloomberg Services is a United Way agency, and I'm honored and blessed to help work to support that continuously. We were out there actually last Friday delivering a challenge grant to them for almost $40,000 for some improvements, and it's always great to see what a legacy y'all have left with that incredible facility that the Dothan and the Wiregrass is really blessed to have, and your continued support financially at United Way each year. And Leslie, you write some of the nicest notes wishing us luck as you mail your contribution in. I just want you to know how much it means to not only me, but the entire Wiregrass. Our next laureate is Keith Givens from the Cochran Firm.
Keith Givens was born in Dothan, Alabama at Moody Hospital, the son of Leon and Wileen Givens. Keith married a high school classmate, Carrie Faith Deloney. They have been married 38 years and have 2 sons, John and Chase. John is married to Jessica Givens, and Chase is married to Sydney Givens. Keith and Carrie have 4 grandchildren. He was raised in Ashford, Alabama, and attended Ashford Public School before graduating his senior year from Dothan High School. After graduating from the University of Alabama with undergraduate degrees in psychology and business, Keith graduated from the University of Alabama School of Law. Keith Givens has been a civil trial lawyer for consumers for over 43 years. Keith concentrated his practice in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Currently, he focuses his practice on truck accident cases, product claims, and complex litigation. He is licensed to practice law in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and the District of Columbia.
Keith, some may not realize the Cochran Firm and his other businesses give a lot of money to a lot of different things and a lot of charities that are well noted and logos everywhere. But Keith gives from the heart to people and things and helps people out that most people have no idea. And he doesn't need the recognition or the notoriety. He is one of the most giving, kind, humble, best dudes in my life. And I'm so grateful for him. I'm so grateful that he's let me in his world. Dothan, Alabama is a much, much better place because of Keith Givens. And he has an incredible family, and those that work for him and that are around him and that get to be his friend like I do, you know, we would do anything for him because we know he cares, he gives back, he is a philanthropist, he is, it's just incredible what all he does for people.
You know, people see on our business cards, it has our address right here in Dothan, Alabama. And the first question they ask, if they don't drive through Dothan on the way to the beach, is, where the heck is Dothan? They don't ask that for very long, because what we're able to do out of this community for the largest cities in this nation shock people. What the people of our community are able to provide to the people in New York and Dallas and Los Angeles and Seattle shocked them. And I think it's important to acknowledge that Keith could have picked anywhere to start this business and to grow this business, or to pick it up and move it. But he didn't do that for two very, very important reasons. The first is that community, family, home is very, very important to him and has always been critically important to him. And that's why we are here in Dothan, Alabama. And the second reason is Dothan. There's something magical about this community, about the people in it, about the atmosphere and the positivity and the hope in this community that I think uniquely positions us, the people of this community, to offer those services at the highest level to places way larger than Dothan ever thought about being. But it's certainly fundamental to our operation being here at home in Dothan. And the person that started that process unquestionably is Keith. I love you, Dad. I'm proud to be your son. I'm proud of you. We appreciate you. We love you.
Aren't we having a lot of fun? Hey, boys. I can tell they're having a lot of fun. And I really appreciate this honor. Now, I know, as a trial lawyer, I'm not exactly the poster child for the chamber. I think that, the elephant in the room is, how many, and it's funny if you really think about it, how many ballots do you think it took to get me in as a Hall of Fame member of the chamber? I mean, I can just see it. I know that it started in 2011, and I'm on this has to be the 14th ballot, start off with that. But somebody had to be missing on that committee in that room to allow this to happen. But I appreciate it very much. I am more than willing to be the token trial lawyer for the Hall of Fame for the area chamber. And to this point, I really have only one regret, and that's that I'd ever give a picture like you saw of me in high school to Bob Woodall. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, that's like stupid beyond imagination. But Bob, it gives me an occasion. When I see that photo, and if I'd seen it before tonight, I think I would have maybe slid something else in there in place of that photo. But just so everyone knows what I remember when I look at that photo, and it's something for all of us to remember, because when you're in a position of leadership or authority or power, that we need to be very mindful not to slam the door of opportunity and kindness to people who look different and who sound different. So I want to say that. And that's the only emotion you're going to see out of me tonight. I did get an occasion to reflect a little bit today. I don't know whose notes these are. You better hope I don't read them, because it may be a while. But and I tried to, what have I done from my perspective? Why am I even here? I don't compare. I realize that, especially when I listen and look at some of the accomplishments of everyone else. So I'm humbled just for the opportunity. But I do have this around my neck, by the way, and it's too late to take it back. Guys, matter of fact, let me go ahead and shed it. Jack, if you want to share that with Archer and Cooper, if y'all want to hold that may occupy your time. And that's probably the highlight of my night, just so y'all know right there is doing that. But as I did reflect this afternoon, and everything I'm going to say, I'm saying because I feel it, and I'm saying it because I feel like saying it right now. So bear with me if I say something that you wish I hadn't said. But the first thing that I'm grateful and appreciative of, and that I recognize that I'm privileged, and that is I love what I do. And, I think that's a big, important part of any kind of motivation or excitement and everything else. I have the good fortune of helping people every day in a legal system that's complex, very confusing, very frightening, and I get to help people. And for 43 years, I've been able to do that in this community. And that reminds me of the second thing I thought of today, and that is I love where I work and where I live. And I'm amazed when I look around this room of the families that actually are working and living. You know, we're talking grandfathers, great-grandfathers, you know, sons, daughters, all kind of family members that are here for a reason. It's because we all love where we are, and we love this community. And I'm proud and excited about that. The third thing that came to mind, and it's clearly the most important, is I love who I work with, I live with, and the individuals in this community that I share it with. Second time. I've been emotional. So take it back. You might hear it, but you're not going to hear it again. The individual, starting with my partners and my coworkers, you know, I realize, and I know you realize, I want everybody in this room to realize, I've been getting all the credit for everything they've been doing for decades. And I appreciate and thank you for, you know, letting me get all that credit. And now that I've got me a medallion and I'm in the Hall of Fame, I no longer will need any credit. I promise you can get all the credit, but I still need my share of the fees. So I just want to make sure that y'all don't cut me out of anything else. I'm not going anywhere there. And really the table here, it's probably only three people that I really, you know, need to thank at all, and that's first my mother. Thank you, Mother. You can't imagine how little she enjoys doing these kind of things, and so I know it's something special. She's been at it the longest and the hardest, so obviously I thank and I love you. And the second person is my mother-in-law. I know a lot of people's got all kind of mother-in-law jokes. None of those mother-in-law jokes apply to my mother-in-law. And if you try to do anything, and if you've got in-law problems, sometimes it can be an obstacle to slow you down. I never had an obstacle. I've had almost 4 decades of home-cooked meals and the kindest, best treatment, and you have been the best mother-in-law ever. So thank you for that. And then the third person at the table, and I'll before I mention her name, this is the advice I got today. Everything's fresh off the grill, so to speak. She wanted to know what are you going to say today? She's having this comment to me at lunch. I said, I don't know. I'm going to get up. I'm going to say whatever I feel like as I feel it. And, you know, I said, it may take an hour, hour and a half. What do you think? And she said, you know, very seriously, she said, you need just to get up, thank everybody, tell them how great your wife is, and sit down. I mean, I promise you that's as straightforward and simple. I might have blown the first part. I tried to thank, you know, several people, including, you know, those that are members of the chamber, and I might have been a little long, so I haven't done that. Let's see how I do on the second part. Now I'm going to tell everybody the secret. If you're writing down notes, you're going to have a takeaway. This is it. This is the secret to my success. I would not be a laureate with a big medallion and forever on the wall in the chamber as having accomplished all those great things in that little brochure you can read about. I do want to point out that probably about half of them are puffery and a few other exaggerations. I'll let you figure out what part that is. But this is it. Pay attention. This is what is the secret. And no one in this room has accomplished a single thing without a lot of love and a lot of support from a lot of people for a long period of time. So if that should go without anybody disputing that. Here's mine. I have a job that's very, very challenging. It takes me way beyond the normal working hours. It takes me to places that I don't necessarily want to be, at times that I can't control. As Carla Woodall will attest, the courts and the judges have a way of scheduling things. I don't care if it's your anniversary, your birthday, kids are playing ball. It does not matter to them. That's the schedule we've had to follow. So I've been on that kind of schedule all my career. I don't I doubt it's going to change significantly, even though I am a laureate and a Hall of Fame member, and I'll reference that quite often. Here it is. This is what Carrie says that makes the difference. You do whatever you've got to do, just bring the money home, baby. It is that simple. So, Carrie, I've tried to live up to my end of the bargain on that. And thank you for that kind of support. And if she said it once, she said it 1,000 times. She said it this week. She'll say it next week. I can depend on you, baby. So hang in there. But there's no question that the greatest thing that two of us together have accomplished are also sitting at that table, and that's John Givens and Chase Givens. And this is a perfect occasion. This would be a failure for me if I didn't accomplish what I'm about to try to accomplish. And I'm going to remind them at the table, it started with a conversation that I had with my dad when I was 12 or 13 years old. He made a bargain with me that if I would let him take care of me till I'm 30, I'll have your back, support when necessary, I'll do whatever is necessary up until the time you're 30. Most people get 18. You go into the service, you go into the Army, whatever, but 30 years. I will stay with you for 30 years, provided that you're there for me and you take care of me and you provide for me and you do what's necessary as necessary for my last 30 years of life. And I think my mother would attest that he lived up to his end of the bargain. I've lived up to my end of the bargain. We have a room full of witness, boys. On behalf of your mother, officially, this is when the last 30 years of your mother and I start. And so now you have the responsibility, the obligation of maintaining us in somewhat the lifestyle that we've become accustomed. And you will never see a medal, because all these individuals will hold you to the standard in here. And my fellow laureates will make sure that criteria number one, that you follow that code to take care of your mother and I for the next 30 years. So I know you can do it. So I got tons of confidence. But I've tried, and this is the last comment, last thing I'm going to say. And I jocularly mentioned that, boys. But I did try to defray the cost a little bit. I applied for the best job in the Wiregrass, hands down. It pays well. It's got lots of benefits. It's got quality of life. You work when you want to. It's the best job. And I think if we took a poll when I tell you what that job is in this room, that y'all would agree that it's the best job in the Wiregrass. And I applied for that job. Now, I was turned down only because, not because I wasn't qualified, but because Cal Turner told me that Bob Woodall had Bob Woodall's job and that he wasn't ready to turn it over to anybody else. And so I'm in for this another 5 or 10 years, and then I'm going to reapply for that Bob Woodall job in about 5 or 10 years. Cal, stick around, man. Don't retire on me. I need your job dependence. But thank everyone. Honestly, thank everyone. I am humbled and I am honored. And I would just as this is the last thing I'm going to say. And I'm unlikely at my age to. This is a Adam Jones question. He wanted to know: does this mean you're not ever going to sue anybody who's ever been a part of the chamber or attended? And that's probably true, Adam. I'm very unlikely to sue a single person in this room. I don't know why you're laughing, but just so you know, I have sons and partners that will. So, thank you.
And Keith, just so you know, once someone's nominated for the Dothan Business Hall of Fame, after 5 years on the ballot, that's it. So it wasn't 14 for you. I don't know how many it was, but it certainly wasn't 14. Our next laureate tonight is Charles Owens from Construction Partners Incorporated.
Charles Edward Owens was born on March 28, 1950, in Enterprise, Alabama, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Milford Owens. He was raised in Midland City with his 3 sisters and 1 brother, graduating from Dale County High School in 1968. Charles married Julia Ann Bryan of Abbeville in 1971, and they were married for 45 years until Julia passed away in 2015. Charles credits his success to his beloved wife and her devotion to supporting their family. They have 2 children, Brandon, who lives in Birmingham, and Alicia, who lives in Dothan. He is the proud grandfather of 3 grandchildren, Grayson, Charlie, and Hunter. Armed with a solid work ethic, self-discipline, and a desire to learn, he entered the road building industry by working for couch construction during his high school summer breaks. He began a full-time career at the company in 1971 as a clerk while attending Troy State University in Dothan at night, where he received his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration in 1980.
Charles was a good person. I had some experiences with him, and he was always looking for an opportunity to help people. He was a great family man, always respected how well he loved his family and took care of them. He had a special needs daughter, and he was just always a strong advocate and a great caregiver to her, along with his wife, Julia. He was someone that you could look up to, and you could see that the way that he loved and cared for his family, he was a good example to follow. Well, shortly after I was hired, Charles was asked to become the CEO and president of Superfos Construction, which was a Danish publicly traded company that owned Couch at that time. And Charles was asked to be the CEO and president of that company, who had operated in 5 different states and multiple companies. And over the next 6 years, Charles was able to quadruple the size of construction partners in the United States. So we had a significant amount of growth, primarily as a result of Charles's strategic plan that he had for how to grow their U.S. operations.
I've worked with hundreds of C-suite executives over the last 40 years. Lots of CEOs, lots of CFOs. And to me, of all the executives that I've worked with, Charles is the GOAT. We joke around about the office that he's the GOAT. We use him as the example of somebody that led unselfishly. So congratulations on this honor. Do us all a favor. Don't take your boots off just yet. Don't take your spurs off your boot, because the journey is not over. And I'm looking forward to the next 4 or 5 years, whatever it is we have to work together. God bless you, and just think of all the people that you've blessed throughout your career. Look forward to seeing you soon. Love you.
I'd just like to say that as well as myself, there are a lot of other people who just really appreciate the privilege that we've had to work with Charles over the years. And he is just a very behind the scenes type person. He doesn't bring the spotlight to himself, but he's done great things that have had a great impact on people that are in his life, both his professional life and his personal life. And just thank him for myself for that opportunity to be able to work with him.
Well, Keith, what were they thinking? A trial lawyer and a construction guy. But I'm glad to be here, just like you. And I just want to back up a little bit and just, as they say, I was born in Enterprise, Alabama, but I was reared in Midland City. So that was a fun time in my life. And I want to thank everyone that participated in putting all this together. It's been a great thing, and I am very honored to be here. And I want to talk just a little bit about where my career started. And it started right here in Dothan, Alabama. I think it was 1971, 72, when I was hired by Couch Construction Company, which at that time it was a privately held company owned by the Torrance family and the Flowers family. And I really got a good background there from a standpoint of estimating and construction superintendent, ready-mix concrete manager. And I had this great idea one time. I went and talked to him, and I said, if I ever have the chance, I would like to work in the field. So that was, I think it was on a Thursday or Friday. Well, Monday I was in there with my boots and blue jeans. And I stayed out there about 3 years. And that's when I really, thinking back and everything, and that's when it really hit me, was being in the field. That talent was more important than titles. And that I had the title at that time as a superintendent. I couldn't run a bulldozer. I couldn't run a front-end loader. I couldn't run the paving machine. I couldn't run anything. But those guys was the life of the company. I've always said, we do 3 things. We got the simplest business of any industry. We do 3 things. We get work, we do work, and we keep score. And when you start thinking about the driver of getting work and something to keep score on, it's the field people. And that's why when we started our company, Alan and I kind of come up with the name Construction Partners, that I wanted partners to be in there because I wanted partners, our employees, not to be just employees. They are our partners. But that construction, the field people, the operators of the equipment and everything, it just gave me an eye-opening of what was really the heartbeat of our company. And the heartbeat of the company was these people that was doing the work. Without the people doing the work, we didn't need, estimators they could get the work, but they couldn't go build the work. So we needed these people, and these people were very valuable and always helped them up to be the most important group, and I love working with those guys. I love going out there, getting on the back of the paver and riding the paver a while, smelling the asphalt. That was a wonderful smell. And I'm here to tell you, and going and sitting, talking to operators and stepping up on those tracks, on those machines, and sitting there talking to the operators. I mean, they had the knowledge and the talent to put everything together. And I've always been grateful for that opportunity to serve in the field. And then, going to work with Couch, that was give me a good foundation. Couch was a very professional company, and it was head of its class and compared to the other construction companies. And and one thing that they looked at was culture, hard work, good pay, accountability, advancements for opportunities. And quite frankly, Couch in Dothan, Alabama was the training ground for numerous amount of people that has gone out and made good employees in other positions, and some have spun out and they've gone into business on their own. But it was a great training ground. And I was fortunate that I was a member of that class that went through that training ground, and I will always be thankful for the opportunities that I was given at Couch Construction. I'm glad to see Julianne here tonight, but her husband, Mr. Sam Torrance, was like almost a father figure to me. I lost my dad when I was 13 and never did have a dad type figure in my life, but Sam was one of those. And I enjoyed Quinn. Quinn, thank God he wasn't part of my life as a fatherly figure. I mean, you know, we would probably still be somewhere in the Bahamas drinking God knows what and enjoying life. But anyway, so I want to thank them personally. But, you know, and then in 1985, Couch sells to a publicly traded company, Superfos AS, that was located in Copenhagen, Denmark. And when that happened, we continued to operate under the Couch name. And then at that time, Mr. Sam Torrance was the president of Couch, and I was president of the Alabama operation, and Steve was president of the materials operation, and Don Solly, another Dothan man that ended up living in Florida most of his life, was president of our Florida operation. And then in 1992, we answered at that time to Superfos Construction U.S. And it was that position, CEO, was held in a Danish operation name. And then in 92, they promoted me to the president, CEO of Construction Superfos U.S. And our team at that time, we grew our business, asphalt business and company, to the 5th largest asphalt producer in the United States. And while we were in the process of building that business to the 5th, Steve Shaw over here was buying ready-mix companies like they were Hardee's biscuits, and then putting together aggregate facilities. And so, as a matter of fact, Steve, I hope I don't mess you up on this, but he kind of got the nickname of Steve Trump. So we just called him Trump because it seems like he was buying something so often. But that was kind of our strategy at that time, is because we had a strategy of acquiring family-owned companies and bringing them in and kind of consolidating the market. But the main thing we were doing, we were giving the family-owned companies an exit strategy, an exit window in order to get out of business. You know, sometimes you have first generation, second generation, third generations. Well, some of that all works, but in the construction business, first generation, when you can move it over to the second generation, because of the surety bonding and the qualifications at DOTs, you have to have a pretty good balance sheet. And so, you know, a lot of times the best thing to do is to have a happy Thanksgiving, is just sell the company, and then when the kids all show up, just split the money up, you know, and there's no problem. So that was kind of our bread and butter. That was the people, and they say, well, you know, and that market gets bigger every day. Somebody said, what's the driver of that market? The driver of the market is birthdays. Everybody's getting older. So you're seeing more and more companies that's looking for an exit strategy, because if you may be in the second generation, but if you're in the third generation, and most of the first generation tried to get their kids to do anything but what they were doing, because it was hard work. You spent a lot of time, not sometime around your families and stuff like that. So anyway, it worked out real good. And then it was in the latter part of 1999, right at 2000, we had operated as Superfos Construction U.S. for 15 years. And then the company changed ownership by a hostile takeover. We traded on the Copenhagen Stock Exchange. It was a hostile takeover by Ashland Oil, which Ashland Oil's construction arm is APAC, which you see APAC around all in town. And so we went through that process. And we were taken over after an unsuccessful management buyout process when we actually formed the new company, Construction Partners. And since it was unsuccessful, then it was all over. Needless to say, because of the management buyout and the offers that we put on the table and the offers that Ashland had to do, didn't make many friends in that process. So during that process of doing the management buyout, I knew Ned Fleming, and I knew Ned from because he married Sam Torrance's daughter, and so I got to know Ned and never could figure out what he did, but anyway, he was running around with, you know, all these people that, golly, know that I guarantee you, Keith, they didn't come from Ashford or Midland City. So anyway, so after all that, the year 2000 hits, and I say, what now? First of all, I got fired. You know, that was one thing I was warned about when I was made president CEO at Supervise. The guy said, now, Charles, you know, there's not but two types of CEOs. I said, yeah, what type are they? He said, those that's been fired and those that are going to get fired. And he was right. So anyway, I got fired and Ned quit his job. So we were running around trying to, you know, get everything put together, and we actually had a deal put together with Blackstone as our private equity partner, and Deutsche Bank, I think, was our bank, or J.P. Morgan at the time, and that's when we got outbid by Ashland Oil. So anyway, so now we're sitting there, and we got a company with no work and no revenue, and so. But what we did have, we still had the secret sauce of kind of how we grew Supervise. You know, we had goals, we had strategy, and we had ways to execute that strategy. So Ned formed a company, Suntex Capital Partners, and he started raising money in a fund to raise some equity, and when we was dealing with bankers, and I think he was up there in New York talking to all these people, trying to get them to put money in the fund and stuff, and I think he finally realized he needed friends in low places. So that's when he called me. And I started running around with him. And I think they actually saw somebody that probably could do construction work, you know, and could run the company. So anyway, he raised his fund. The fund closed on September the 10th, 2001. Y'all know what happened September the 11th. It was a God gift that we got the fund closed, because I think I'm not sure it would ever happen. Then we made our first acquisition in November of 2001 with a Florida-based contractor, C.W. Roberts Contracting. And so when the fund closed, and we really wasn't a copycat of what Supervise had accomplished. And what we did at Supervise, it was more like us hitting the pause button. And then once we got the funding and got everything in place, it was almost like hitting the button to resume. So we just went straight down and continued to do what we were doing. And I guess one of the highlights during that time is May 4th, 2018. We went public, and we sold the first stock on the NASDAQ that year. And then 3/28/21, My birthday was 28, so that was a good time. I wanted to step down and do less in the company. So I was on the board, but I was made vice chairman of the board of directors, and was on the acquisition working group committee, which was good. So that all worked out good. And we had a COO at the time, Jewel Smith. He's here today. And Jewel, we moved him into the president CEO role. And you know, I'm getting to be on the board. I'm on the acquisition group, working group. But most of all, I'm proud of. I'm a shareholder, and the stock's done pretty good. So anyway, I've been blessed with many opportunities that I've been given. And you know, we all have a book. We all write a book in our lives. You know, we got all these chapters. You know, you got the family chapter, you got the lake chapters, you got the fishing chapters, the beach chapters, your spiritual journey chapter, your kids, your grandkids, and it just keeps going on and on. But we only you know, you got to keep in mind that the chapter on your job, it's only one chapter. Your job and your title doesn't define who you are. And so, you know, and that was one thing that I always enjoyed, was getting to know other people. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I was like Keith. It was almost like, well, Keith has almost pulled out a couple of my notes there. I mean, I enjoy it with my whole career. Everything that I have done, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with a job that I enjoyed. Blessed with a job that I could be around other people. During the process of these companies, we probably made over 50 plus acquisitions during my career, and everyone's writing a book. And what I enjoyed most about the book was the other chapters other than the work chapter. And that was, you know, a big thing. And kind of the takeaway from this is, you know, I have been surrounded by good people all my career. I mean, they're just good, solid people. And, you know, like Mr. Torrance, for example, just like we talked about. And then you got people like Alan Palmer, our CFO that was here from Dothan, is a great, godly man. And boy, you're talking about somebody that needed to hang around one. I needed to hang around one. And I thank Alan for that. And then you got John Harper, which we acquired his company, I think, in 2022 or something like that, and he grew the company. And now he's moved on into the construction partners. And Brandon O is my son, which, golly, no, I have. Sometimes it's scary watching him work. Sometimes I think it's me. And because he sometimes just doesn't know when to quit. And then Greg Hoffman's here, which was old Dothan guy, and I want to thank John Walker, you know, Brett Armstrong, Ned Nelson, and Steve, you know. And when things would, and so I had a lot of people, smart people around me that maybe make good decisions, but I could sometimes mess up some stuff as bad as you have ever want to see. And who did I go to? Bob Flowers. He was the fixer. I mean, I could do some crazy stuff, but Bob at Superfos and the construction partners fixed things that needed to be fixed. And if you're in a foxhole and someone's shooting bullets at you, you want that man in the hole with you. I can tell you right now. All right, so I'll wind down and just say one more time that everything I did in this company, I enjoyed. I had fun. Yeah, we were busy and all that kind of stuff, but it was fun. But I have many, we named about some chapters that we have, and now being that I have less responsibility, I'm enjoying working on additional chapters and adding to different chapters in my life. And you know, my daughter, I think the video Allie mentioned that she's disabled, and but when she was born, she's a miracle baby. She was born 1 pound 8 ounces, Dothan, Alabama. That was 41 years ago. We just didn't have all the good stuff as we probably have today. And the Bloombergs, yeah, I have attended over there. I've seen you, Miss Bloomberg, and with Charles Chapman, you know. Anyway, but when you see her, it'll make you want to get up. It'll make you be proud of what you have. And, you know, but I never see her as a burden. I see it as a motivator. She will motivate. She could come in this room right here, and before, if you spoke to her, you'd walk out feeling better than she'd ever felt. She's just that type of person. And, of course, we talked about my wife that battled cancer for about 6 months and died in 2015. But those two women in my life helped me more than any two other people that I know. And they were wonderful. And now I got Brandon, and boy, am I proud of him, but I'm more proud of him because he's given me 3 grandboys. And I look forward to spending more time with them. And I'll go to, you know, it's just like when you put it all down. God had his hand in everything I've done in my life. You know, and our family lived off of Proverbs 12:12. You know, be joyful for hope, patience in affliction, and faithful in prayer. Now, we lived off of that. That was our verse. And it still serves the purpose today. I had 3 people, and then Steve come up late, and he was the 4th one. And on my notes, this is what they all told me. They all, you know, everybody's telling me what to do because they know that they can always give me good advice. And the notes right here, 3 people, now Steve is 4. Just say thank you and sit down. So with that, I'm going to say thank you and sit down, and this is an honor.
Glenn Wise was born August 24, 1936 in Cuthbert, Georgia, to Alice and Leon Wise. The family would later move to Eufaula, where Glenn would play on the 1953 state championship basketball team. He later attended Troy University, where he met the love of his life, Sarah Hendricks. The couple married December 21, 1956 in Geneva, Alabama. They began their life together in Dothan, where Glenn began his career as a bookkeeper at Sears, and Sarah taught English at Young Junior High School. They have 2 daughters, Dawn and Laura.
Glenn Wise was a very dear friend to my family, my parents, myself as a young man, and when I came back to Dothan in 1978 as a young lawyer, Glenn immediately came to me and entrusted me to help him with his companies and various business ventures.
Glenn started his career with Grady Lofton at Maintenance Incorporated. The two eventually bought the company from Mr. Lofton and began the business of government contracting. With the success of Maintenance Incorporated, Glenn began another company, Scientific Industries. The main focus of this new company was waste management contracts on government bases. The company employed over 1,200 employees and held contracts throughout the Southeast. Glenn started another business, Quan Air, that performed ride and lawn maintenance at Busch Gardens.
In January of 1985, Glenn sold his companies to a British company that was stationed out of Bermuda, and they asked him to stay on for 2 years to run the company. And unfortunately, on May 5 of '86, Glenn passed away from a cancer that was discovered in February of 1986. And at that time, Glenn was only 49 years old. I look back, being age 70 now, and I'm humbled and amazed at what Glenn Wise accomplished in life at such an early age. After he passed away, I kept hearing from people that he had helped that I didn't know before. Glenn was a quiet giver. And I found out from various people that he had paid their way through college.
He was probably the best businessman that I've ever been associated with. And he made things happen. He could dig in and make it happen. Now, he and I got appointed to the Dothan Bank and Trust Board here in Dothan at the same time, which is now Regions Bank. I learned a lot from Glenn by just being on the board with him. And he could find out the details on if we had a bad loan, you know, Glenn could look at it and tell you right quick what the problem was and if it could be solved. But Glenn was really a super person, and I enjoyed my association with him.
In already a short time, Glenn was a major force of good works in our community. And I'm just so thankful and blessed to have known him and to have learned so much from him. Glenn, we miss you. It was an honor to know you, and it's an honor for us to be here tonight for your award. And you're well missed. And you're my dear friend, and thank you.
Glenn was a great guy, and I really appreciate all my time and association with him and his family. And so, Sarah, hope you and the family do well, and thank you, and I appreciate my involvement with Glenn.
On behalf of her father is Dawn Thiene.
The bad thing about being last is you come behind a bunch of great speakers and they stole all the good lines. So you're stuck with just trying to come up with something. No, but we really want to thank the Chamber and the young professionals for honoring our father with this award. My daddy was one of the best men I've ever known. And all daughters say that, I realize that. But he was so kind and so generous, so smart, and so forward-thinking that he was just amazing. I remember one time when I was younger, we were riding around, and this is back when the circle, anything outside the circle was just pasture land. And right behind where Regions is now, he had bought that lot. And he said, you know, one day, Dothan's going to grow out toward enterprise. And I looked at him like he lost his mind. There's nothing out there. And lo and behold, every time I drive by the Highlands, I think, you did know what you were talking about after all. Daddy's been gone 38 years now. I was 27, Laura was 22. So at that point in time, we weren't paying a whole lot of attention to the business aspects of things. So when we decided to nominate Daddy for this honor, we had to rely on lots of family and friends to fill in the blanks that we didn't know about. I really want to thank David and John for all they told us about and doing the video. I want to thank Linda Head, who was Daddy's longtime assistant and pretty much knew where all the bodies were buried. I want to thank my Aunt Mary Lou. She knew the family stuff. And then I really want to thank Lamar and Tracy Brooks because they were very much motivating in us doing this. And we really just we thank y'all for doing this, and we're just honored for this honor. You want to say anything? Nope.